wise, I can go on for a while as far as both these teams and their front lines value. The one I'm favoring and leaning more toward is Team Haerin as far as draft with the Baron Chen, mainly because of the sustain that they afford versus the least expected. I'm more interested to see, and I think a lot of this is going to swing on the simple AMC pick, how that actually survives and does. If it is able to make it to late, it can offer a ton to his roster. And the poke, if they're able to make sure, if no one's able to close that gap, this AMC is able to free cast, is going to be really rough to deal with. I don't want it to be that way, but okay. I hate when this does that. I guess it's going to have to be that way. Team Haerin, light tunnel, straight handles, and Guru. Guru? It'd be Guru if it was a U, but it's a O. Alright. Starts underway. Looks like the Shiva is going into this cloak with Blink. The wonderful sprint horrific on the side of Team Haerin. I'm a little surprised that we're not casting over the wall as much. AMC didn't get a ton of hives out quite yet in the beginning. Mana already pretty rough. Going into wave number 1. We were trying to get a cheeky 3 for poke. The 2 lands on the AMC. Shiva got a decent wraparound. Shiva did get blink off. That's a fair amount of pressure right away. Obviously, because of that poke and that pressure that was afforded onto the Baron, the team least expected able to easily secure that. I'm going to have to turn on Spotify. I apologize. Shiva just hovering. At the very least, making the Jing Chen feel uncomfortable. Dashing into that heal. Alright, hold on. They're going to be jumping back and forth for a second. Apologize. Alright, team least expected got minis. This should be the preparation. This should be a backs for least expected. Almost both rosters looking for that T2, if not full item, for a red buff. Baron obviously staying because he already got that back off. Not going to have enough gold. Due to this, the Baron only having a T1, we have a slight advantage when you start talking about 100 health, right? Which is minute. 2 autos are an equivalent ability, essentially. They are level 5s, both rosters. Definitely taking their time to think about what target selection they want to go. They don't have sprint for Team Haerin or a blink for the Shiva. Uller doing his very best to get some poke. AMC has to really conscious. They don't have blinks on the side of Team Haerin, but staying deep enough to make sure he's not the initial engage and trying to get some of that poke at first. This is a pause going into red buff. Red is pulled. Jing's going to be that initial engage. Baron's going to try to wrap here. Street handles resetting. Cam, thank you. I didn't see that because I was messing with Spotify. I appreciate that. Dum-da-dum-dum-dum. This is paused. I could pull up your answer to your question, Atomic. This is Team Haerin. This is the banner. Is that better? Not what you are expecting, but there you go. Not bad. That was pretty good. Not what I was expecting at all, but... Alright, unpausing. You made it, Cody. That makes a lot more sense suddenly. Cody made that. Red buff was secured by Team Haerin. Jin Chen immediately trying to go into an engage. A double alt gets both team members, and First Blood goes for straight handles, getting it on the Shiva. That is an ideal start for Team Haerin. First Blood and red buff. Just unfortunate. Shiva not able to get alt off before that Jing Chen ult comes through. Both blue buffs should be immediately pulled. It is not, I mean, when you think about the fact of leads, it's not massive, but this spike is a big start in that pressure. And that kill did go onto that Baron. I appreciate you, Dev. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're doing well, man. Hey, you look sexy. Start thinking about items, spikes, however, this AMC. Start looking at these Hive or leveling. As far as abilities go for all these team members, Hives being maxed on the AMC English. Holy cow! Purple now being hovered. Clap there. Terra. There's a Shiva blink onto the Baron. Clap was just a little off. Now the Terra is going to be the focus. I love this play by the Baron. Able to easily punish that Terra overextension. Shiva forced the ult. Baron getting a ton of value already. You start looking at just the fact that Thebes are already substantially underway, where we're just getting it for this Terra, and Cloak isn't yet online in the Shiva. Red's gonna be spawning, so you gotta be a little conscious going into this fight. They're trying to prioritize the Baron. I think the big thing I'm worried about when you're doing that, the Baron's bruiser, right? Because he can build alternate timeline, he can build damage. You just have to have one member full DPS, so the Ullr cannot build any protection in his build. That being said, prioritizing this Baron is gonna get a little rough when he can just 2 and get most of that poke right back. Also gaining movement speed and looking for that team fight potential. I am interested to see once you get itemization online, especially for this AMC, if he's able to return some of that damage. Blue buffs pulled again. Most of it's kind of nullified ever since that original team fight. We have gotten obviously neutral, camp, and buff. Continue to build some of that, but slowly. I'm not sure how I feel about the cloak on Shiva. Mainly for the simple fact how hard that's going to be for him to stack that on an Ullr, who shouldn't be allowed to have him step up and get that. Rin, appreciate the follow. Welcome, welcome. I understand. It's one of those moments we're stepping up, getting a little set up onto this Baron. The Shiva being the worst for wear. I didn't go as far as the prots, big dog. But, yes, any prots, period, right? I didn't go as far as the passives. But, yes, there shouldn't be any protections. Jing Chen. Terra passive coming through. Make sure it can't be thrown. Shiva getting blink, gets a stack, pretty much the only value we got unfortunately, from that engage. Yeah, proc charge not. Red can be corrupted, but when you start thinking of what 6%, or was it 6%? Prots of 0, 6% of 0 is 0. Obviously, if you have your, I'm not gonna go into characters and your passive prots and everything else, but itemization. I'm talking base stats on the item, not the passives. We can get into the weeds on that a little too fast. What's up, Cliffy? Purple obviously secured. Red now being looked at. Uller pathing in. A 2-kill lead here underway for Team Haerin. 1,300 already accrued. AMC doing his very best to get as much value as possible. I think for me, the big thing we got to get underlined here is some anti-heal for the least expected to deal with this Baron Xingqian. Not having that going to the team fights are going to swing so heavily if Baron hits a single too. So red easily secured, almost uncontested for Team Haerin. And keep in mind, the Team Haerin's fine with just sitting and going for late, playing this slowly, because the later and later this goes, the more and more both ADCs are going to come online. Team Haerin obviously feeling confident that Uller's going to come on the better side of that trade. Johnson also now being looked at. Shiva just trying to step up to get some stacks on their line. 2 for Baron, just missing. Shiva getting a double root. Not much damage followed up as AMC's just clearing wave, trying to get that Transcendence online. Obviously the Transcendence changed, the stackable items now can be stacked via damage, doesn't have to be last hitting. We need desperately some anti-heal. We don't have horrific. We have 0 anti-heal for that matter on the side of least expected. So this Baron finding some incredible value. The axe caught the Shiva dash. Ultimately forced to double ult. Hitting yet another 2. This pressure is going to be just insane. I think one more fight, we don't have to kill. They just immediately look for Bull. 2 more immediately force the back. They're content trying to pull Bull right now. Do they have the shred to do this quickly enough before the least expected are actually able to step in? At half health already. Appreciate the follow. Situate. Welcome, welcome. It is secured well before at least expected can get here. Shiva blinks in, but does he have the damage to do this solo? That is double dash after. It doesn't have ult for the chase. Uller should be able to back off, get a minimum of T2 item. As far as what division or rank this is, Cliffy, this isn't based off of what rank the draft league is drafted, all individuals that did sign up. So this is a 24 team, 96 people draft league. Yeah, I mean, this is just starting to get a little bit farm heavy where you're starting to see a little bit of level disparity, almost a level and a half for these tank front lines. You're starting to build this almost 2K lead. This fight gonna prove pivotal leading into the rest of the game. Is it enough damage? We're poking out the tanks pretty freely. We don't have any anti-heal yet on this side of the least expected. So all this damage can prove almost null and void. Baron hits another 2. Least expected getting poked out substantially. There's the 2 we talked about. Uller feeling confident enough to jump in. Forces AMC beats. Full combo hits on 2. Heavenly's used. Baron goes for that blink. Able to hit the root. Aegis immediately forced. T1 secured amongst that entire fight. least expected, playing on the back foot. We cannot force. We need all caps anti-heal yesterday for this draft. Ronnie did, unfortunately, due to his stream. He wants to focus with the lack of SBL, focus on streaming. He actually decided to step down from the league, unfortunately. Saddened. Teams are playing different days. So we have two, if not 3 sets tonight, and then 5 or 6 tomorrow, and 3 on Sunday, I think, is the schedule I'm looking at. All of that as far as what those days look like. And I think this is available to everyone. Hold on. The schedule as far as what captains actually post, is it here? Captain schedule. They post what days they're actually going to play versus who they're playing. Right? Just like this. Okay. Obviously taking another section of a pause. Now they can pause as many times as they want. The problem is they have like a running timer where they're only allowed 5 minutes in total for the pauses for the duration. They do have Horrific on this Terra. So they have that one source to anti-heal now online. Obviously that being combined with Curse Donk. However, that's kind of a short go button when that's the only source. They have to fight during the duration of this. Happens way more in scrims. Yeah, I don't know. Smite 1's being a little buggy as they're focusing on Smite 2. We're getting some pings out. I'm assuming that's just for the wards. This level lead, obviously still level and a half. I love the use here of this proximity ward, looking for that slow, some of that utility. Right, it's going to be looked at. Should be a red wave bull shift here for Team Haerin. Now, what I'm looking for is that back into the game for the least expected, where they decide to take this fight. They got to be conscious that they're not immediately. Ooh, that might be a small window that we got. Unfortunately, no value received from that Baron ult. A big tool utilized. Shiva blinks in. Terra is now going in. AMC was thrown, but to whom? Should spell the end of the fight in the back. But did he even have the damage between this Terra Shiva to get any kill potential? Horrific yet utilized. Heavily now used. Trying to get any chase down potential they can. Horrific was dropped. The axe catching that Terra. The 2 comes through. That should be enough and is Terra going down. Ulu stepping forward. Problem is he's tanking. You're alone. More than enough with this Baron 2. That should spell an end. A full wipe / deicide here for Team Haerin. That should prove enough. You have Terra's down for 15. Yeah, that's more than enough shred for the Titan, or the bird more so. 8 seconds on Terra. That should spell the end as the DPS, Shiva, AMC are down for 12 seconds. A 15-minute game here for Team Haerin. And GG, Team Haerin running away with game number 1. I'm not surprised as far as draft goes. That comes back to that some of that sustain. We start running away with that pressure. We didn't have any real anti-heal source for the least expected. Or really when you start talking about kill potential between the Shiva and this Terra to get their hands on the Uller. Baron hits 1-2 and then that whole fight goes sideways. I think I want to see a different draft as far as characterization. Or kill potential between this double front line going into the game number 2. But a GG overall. Just taking a look at some of the damage numbers. Is up 1-0 on the set. I am a little shocked by the get pick. I wouldn't have minded a second, like a different guard, especially Bruiser-esque, but when you start talking about AMC, keeping him alive, get a lot of that set up, Gab offers that a lot of the utility, but at what cost? Of hopefully not of himself. You getting the shirt ready for printing? That's crazy. I don't know about S tier, but when you start talking about drafting, AMC needs a team that's going to be drafted to keep him alive and facilitate him to late game. And there's not much better than a double guard. So I'm ready to see that kind of be played out. I do agree that obviously you start talking about backline support. Guardian, Geb is one of the best. Ganesh also coming to mind. It's no matter how it's going to play out and how the least expected elects to play this draft. Cam, thank you. I need to wake up so I'm not having to get yelled at for that every time. But you beautiful tyrant. What's up, Abdul? Taking a look here. There's the ability base. Selecting the Bluestone Transcendence first item. I'm not shocked. The big thing I'm always worried about when we start talking this conversation, we've had this a lot back and forth with most ADC mains, is that ability based into a double guard. They get itemization online. That health pool is going to be really rough when you're not able to auto it down or throw on a Kin's Exion or Kin's Dom, etc. To be able to really find that value, but feeling comfortable enough to do it. Let these guys cook. Oh, we're letting them cook. They are up 1-0. Team Haerin feeling confident. Wave number 1. Erlong Shen wrapping around, getting rid of Hive. Immediately goes for the blink. They don't have Hive for the movement speed. Gab shield comes through. Not really in any danger. A relic utilized. Obviously, a substantial improvement from game number 1 where Team Haerin, Baron was poked out in wave 1 off that blink. A little prepared and prepped for that originally. Kind of sit like this. Where purple is pulled. The jump comes through. Blue able to be secured by the least expected. Pin Charon 2 coming through, poking on this AMC a little bit. Actually, the more and more I think about it, we start talking about that poke from the Charon. If this Gab is able to be on point, these shields for the AMC should allow him to actually stay pretty healthy, which is actually pretty good considering. The Gab just has to be on point for this draft, in my opinion, where his positioning has to be good, but he has to really facilitate this AMC more than anything. What that's going to look like, I guess we'll find out. Peek at leveling order here. That's level 5. Caught the Charon dash. AMC got Stinger off, but isn't enough damage. Unfortunately, just not enough. That should easily secure red, though. I love that go button. Erlong Shen gets punished easily. Team Haerin firing on all cylinders. That is a Faf ult moment for sure. Red should be easily secured for Team Haerin. That is a first blood and red buff like we saw from game 1, repeated for game number 2. The Gab catching Charon dash and getting Stinger applied was honestly just pivotal for that fight, pushing them back. The Erlang Shen stepping out. Should have been just giving up red originally. Unfortunately, just not sealing that damage is going to come out. Take a quick peek at leveling order. I shouldn't see any surprises, but always worth the shot. Oh, that is notable. We're deciding to level the knockup versus the shield here. apparently he's a knower talk shop. Fafnir's backing. You got to be a little conscious. You got to step off now because he backed in vision. Gab doing really well to make sure AMC shielded. To make, like we talked about a little earlier. Make sure he's not getting too poked out in preparation for waves and even purple buff. Maxing the pin instead of his one. Yeah, that is a Geb all. AMC able to contact the damage isn't enough. Isn't enough though. The return damage now onto the AMC. Haerin alting gets it attached. That is a kill. I love that prioritization. Gab trying to set that up for the AMC, but now can we actually turn in enough damage? A big Erlong blink alt pulling them off his Medusa. But you got to be really careful with this. Fafnir should have more than enough damage. The Medusa should go down and does. Are you able to turn that into anything? Erlong, not enough. The pin. You have the silence too. Gap shield comes through. Now the Haerin a little overextended. I think we should have taken that kill and left it alone. Gave him the Johnson. Instead fighting into that Fafnir. Fafnir alt just finding incredible value already from just 2 picks alone. AMC went dominance first item instead of this Transcendence. Medusa. Red spawning. I am a little nervous. This Team Haerin, Gab, full combo, AMC and Stinger. That's going to come, that's going to be more and more dangerous as the game goes on. You sort of get items onto this AMC. I don't think that's going to, that trade's going to happen a ton. Especially when we're going to late. I need to see team least expected finding a lot more value quicker. Along Shen's got to be careful. He is overextended here by himself. Red able to secure it. Is he able to turn this into a kill? AMC does have Stinger. Able to get both hives on the way out. A good sidestep for the Hammer. Should get him out easily. Hammer connects. That turns into a very different story. A really good juke. All that being said, both Nutra buffs did still go to Team Haerin. We are still building what is a little bit of a lead here. On a possible blue buff invade, Medusa's got to be really careful to not step up solo. Erlong's in. That is a Gab alt utilized. Aegis, Gab shield for the cleanse. Worked really well. Stinger's down. You got to be careful. That shred is more than enough from the Fafnir alt. Heavily utilized. Is he able to close gap? Their own heavenly to get out. I love this double guard facilitating this AMC. It's proving more than enough CC and damage. The Gab cleanse for the Medusa Erlong alt combo. Getting the AMC out of CC gridlock with that CC cleanse and the Geb shield, proving more than enough to transfer that fight. All the backs are going to come through itemization. I'm really interested to see how this goes. So he is going more... AMC is electing to go this auto attack based instead of the ability based AMC. I actually kind of like that given he's got this Fafnir buff on the 2. Red spawning shortly. Haerin trying to get a ward. Medusa electing to go more to ability based. Like as previously mentioned at the beginning of the games, we were a little rough and do a double guard and this HP that they're going to have to shred through. Take a peek at builds again. A level in order. I like to go honey, or I mean bees instead of honey max. Right is pull. Let me zoom out real quick. Able to be secured. Gab's doing a cheeky rollout. They should hear this coming, and they do. Erlong Shen blinks in. That's all 3 ults utilized right away. You did get a double petrify on both guards, but what is that going to mean? Beads immediately utilized by the Medusa. Is in big trouble here when Fafner's involved. Gab waiting for that knock-up once more. Do we have the CC? AMC got back off. Just not enough damage. Gab being pinned under tower. Heavily used to try to get out. Silence comes through to cancel the dash, but not enough damage. Fafner able to jump out. No one goes down on either side. AMC already back. Medusa getting out with just a sliver of that auto attack base. You already have Kins on this AMC, and it is showing. Able to secure purple. Do they pull? Both tanks had to back. This is an early pull, 9 minutes. They got both tanks to back. This should be pretty easily called out. Medusa here at half health. AMC doesn't have any sustain, so he's going to be pretty poked out from tanking this unless Gab throws a shield on him. Team least expected, able to step in. It should spell the end of that. Good discipline to not force anything. This is notable. We have an erosion on the Haerin to deal with the Geb shielding. Also notable, this Geb went Chronos Pendant second, looking for that cooldown. A little bit of damage. Content with farming this out. A little bit of a lead. Again, slowly building for Team Haerin. There is no hurry. Red spawning shortly. Again, for those of you that are just joining, Team Haerin up 1-0 in this set. Best of 3 sets for these leagues. For the leagues, well. Medusa not yet here. Red easily pull. This looks like it might be completely uncontested. It is. Ooh. I'm assuming that's an oboe? Maybe something a little different. Both these guards actually throwing a little damage on. That's a little interesting, like we'd mentioned, when you're not building auto attack as a Medusa. The survivability, we're not going to see that much. With After is already doing a fair amount of damage, you don't need to see more damage on him. It's a little scary if I'm on the side of least expected. Especially when you can't build protections on your DPS. Content with fighting this out. We got some decent poke. Fafner all used. It's actually a big win here if I'm least expected. Yes, they got the Johnson, but they do have to use Fafel, which has been kind of the problem to fight into if I'm least expected. I should feel really comfortable taking this next fight with their ultimates. Erlong, pretty under level. That's just ticking over to level 12 for second relic. You gotta be real careful here. They are hovering like they're gonna pull a bull instead of just pulling purple. AMC able to secure purple buff. Least expected, trying to hunt for that fight, given the Faf ult is only down for half that timer now. I'm curious what that timer is actually looking like. Only 26 more seconds on that Faf ult. Ooh. That was awkward. One more spike they're waiting for. Again, slowly accruing. That Faf ult window already gone, essentially. By the time it comes back to lane, you should have it up. So we're going into red. All relics up. All ultimates up. The notable, these T2s for third item slot, you have the full item on this Fafnir. This might be that difference. That is hammer used. There's the Erlong blink. Only catching the Gab, unfortunately. Fafnir So that ability base, she's autoing this gap, but to what end when the AMC's easily turning that damage? FAF 2 plus the Stinger, more than enough. Oh, the hammer. The stun, not able to connect with this Erlong Shen dash. Obviously, that would have spelled the end for the Erlong as well. It should be just an easy wave clear looking into that bull. Instead, content enough to immediately just try to blow up this Medusa. Erlong trying to get as much damage as he can off. Now he's the target. The autos. The slow comes through. They're staggering death timers that should easily spell T1 into that bull. Haerin just coming up now. We'll flicker over. Medusa, so you gotta be careful. You're stepping in solo. They don't have any blinks on Team Haerin. Ooh, this is turning a little weird because they're full health. Could they repull? They are. Gab's rolling in. Gab has ult, connects. Mixed with AMC Stinger. All the damage, more than enough to blow up this Medusa who didn't have a single relic to her name. Haerin doing his best to stop backs. Erlong Shen doesn't have Blink. Does have Exi online. Shouldn't be pulling. Sorry, let me fix my Spotify. It bugged. What? There we go. Purple blue spawning. It's Medusa. You don't have that survivability. There's not a ton of appeal when you start talking about an Erlong Shen Haerin versus a Fafnir Gab. It looks like Team Haerin pulling bull. Wave's already been pushed. Medusa's on a speed nowhere near this. It's quarter HP. They're able to secure. The least expected. Hold on, that was stolen. Erlong just needs to not die here. Unfortunately, going down. It's a little bit of the problem when you start talking about AMC or an ADC in general. There is not a ton of secure unless you're dropping ultimates to secure bull. Stolen away. They are content with diving this bird, however. You don't have ult on this Haerin, but the Medusa ult, that Petrify, proving more than enough. Getting a double, if not a triple Petrify there. AMC wants to try to take this bird still, trying to tank it. Ooh, they're able to secure it via the Gab just tanking it up for the AMC. Medusa's got to be careful to not step up. Bird still goes down. There's a silver branch into what's going to be an oboe. Mixed with Fafnir 2 and Hives. I'm a little surprised we're going to this early. We don't go to Shoguns as well, although Haerin's not proving to do a ton of damage. So I don't think they're actually scared of throwing on magical defense versus throwing on some more damage items. Almost a 4K lead in hand. Team least expected. Kind of forced to sit. They did pull Chester back. Forced to kind of wait here. Erlong Shen just incredibly underleveled. If he turns into that target, there's not much survivability there within that build. Doesn't quite yet have Kins here either to deal with this double guard. Fafnir Hammer comes through. AMC content not to cast on it. They're just waiting on fire away for Team Haerin. There's not a ton of clear when you start talking about this least expected roster that it's heavily used. Maybe a little prematurely. There's a relic expended. They do have a second one here, so there's no harm, no foul. We're waiting on that go. AMC getting a fair amount of cast on both. There's the ult. Gets two. Forces Haerin on. Medusa all comes through. Just not enough to kill the Erlong Shen. Gab almost goes down as well, but they're able to secure the kill onto the Haerin. AMC trying to get as much poke as he can on Titan. Good Gab shield for the CC cleanse. The call now to go for full Titan. A kill on their Erlong Shen before ending. AMC trying to get that final kill for a full deicide. The Geb shield able to prove enough. Finishing the game. A full wipe deicide and a Team Haerin win. Oh. Crazy. Faf got to be a permaban. I mean, Fast proving more than enough value. Throwing on that Spear Magus. Obviously doing a ton of damage. He was finding that value long before he had to even throw this on. A lot of that, like we talked about, game number one, not prioritizing that anti-heal. They're just getting out sustained. Baron hits 1-2. The team fight turns into a really rough situation. Now instead, they were able to seal the bull, but just getting those death timers staggered, not having an auto attack build into a double guard with the HP, the prots, the fight just goes from bad to worse. But at the end of the day, they can make some adjustments, continue to build, and go from there. It is notable as well, especially into a double guard with that heavy CC. Yeah. But a GG regardless. Fafnir? I don't know about it goes as far as calling him a mage, but he is finding